Hey yo, everybody!
Welcome to the Scum Villain Self-saving System, Volume 1 stream. Ta-da! Sam and I decided to go blue rather than the green that everything else in
Don't out me. No, Sam just didn't change. And today was a very blue day, apparently.
I didn't feel like changing either. Well, I did change. Then I changed back because I was like, no.
My eyeshadow is
I
green.
coordinated the nails to the
Yeah.
sweatshirt or the sweater, so I can't go back.
My eyeshadow is the green black metallic that I own.
No, it's not.
And green eyeliner. Okay, you can't see on camera, but this is a green eyeliner. So
okay. We are here to talk about one of my favorite books, if not my favorite book, or volume 1 of my favorite book, because it is 4 books. It is one book separated just randomly into 4, not randomly, but into 4 parts, which makes reading the first book really funny, because overall it is a romance, but book 1 is not a romance, or at least in my opinion, it is not.
It's a setup. You can tell it's the first part.
Yeah. So Sam, do you want to do intros or?
Yes, we should introduce ourselves and then I would like to do an intro for the book, and then you can do an intro for how you want to talk about the book.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can introduce the book like a summary or like
the cultural background thingies.
Okay.
And like our pronunciation thing. No. Hi, I am writing on Samantha L Nasset. On my channel, I talk about writer things, parent things, and writer-parent things. How being a parent affects writing and reading. And this year I've gone back and done a lot more reading. So I wanted to start talking about more books. And that's why CB and I decided to do this.
I am CB Ferrenz, a queer fantasy writer and graduate in 4 days screenwriting major. Whoop whoop. I was asked by Sam if I wanted to do an online book club, and I said yes. That's it. That's why I'm here. And so I can make people / Sam, mostly Sam, and you guys too, I guess, if you want, read books that I like, because I've been wanting to get Sam to read this.
Really, this is so we can make each other.
Yes, truly.
Books, and hopefully also get other people to read them.
Yeah. Are these underrated books? I think this one is underrated. Go ahead.
So I know that a lot of my audience is I'd say like half of my audience is anime fans and the other half aren't. Well, the Scum Villain Self-saving System.
You can just call it Scum Villain from now on. We want to just not do the whole mouthful.
Also, I come from an era of long titles. Sometimes it just comes out. But yes, it's a danme, which anybody who is familiar with wuxia films, it's basically kind of like a wuxia film, except it has its own genre conventions, because it is it's harem anime basically, except the protagonist is no, sorry. Scum Villains is about a danme. No, it's about a Stalionave. Danmes are boy love.
Yes. Sorry. I was like, there are actual definitions. Okay. According to the official glossary, danme is a Chinese fiction genre focused on romanticized tales of love and attraction between men. It's analogous. Analogous? That's not how you pronounce that, is? It's the same meaning or similar meaning to the BL or boys love genre in Japanese media. The majority of well-known danmei writers are women writing for women, although all genders produce and enjoy the genre. So then this danmei is a play of,
and I'll go
pronounce any of these. So it's going to be a running theme throughout this stream is, although Sam and I will try our absolute best, we are not very good, or we do not know the proper pronunciation of a lot of the Chinese words within here. I
Even
know
if I do know the proper, like I know how wuxia is supposed to be said.
Okay.
As everybody knows, I am chronically Southern and chronically dyslexic. There are certain languages that if you did not grow up speaking them, you will never be able to pronounce them correctly because your vocal cords just don't develop the way that they need to. So we're still probably not going to say it 100% correctly, but we're going to try.
If we are butchering the pronunciation of something and that you guys know how to say, please just let us know as best you can in the comments, the like phonetical pronunciation of it, and we will try our best. See, I've been just pronouncing it wuxia, which I know is wrong, but the correct pronunciation is
wuxia.
Yeah, that is one of the oldest Chinese literary genres and consists of tales of noble heroes fighting evil and injustice. It often follows martial artists, monks, or rogues who live apart from the ruling government, which is seen as useless or corrupt. These societal outcasts, both voluntary and not, settle disputes among themselves, adhering to their own moral codes over the governing law. Characters in
wuxia
focus primarily on human concerns such as political strife between factions and advancing their own personal sense of justice. True
wuxia. I lose confidence that I'm saying it correctly every time I say it.
Is low on magical or supernatural elements. To Western moviegoers, a well-known example is Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. My dad loves that genre. And then
I grew up watching wuxias with my uncle.
All right, there's another genre in here that is a genre within wuxia, which is
shanxi, I think.
Yeah, okay. It's a genre related to wuxia that places more emphasis on the supernatural. Its characters often strive to become stronger with the end goal of extending their lifespan or achieving immortality. Shansha heavily features Taoist themes, while cultivation and the pursuit of immortality are both genre requirements. If these are not the story's central focus, it is not
Shansha.
The Scum Villain Self-saving System, Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, and Heaven Official's Blessing, which are the three works by this author, are all considered part of both the danmei and
Shansha
genres.
I had to figure out which word I was supposed to say.
Yeah. So
again, I'm not an authority. I just know more about Chinese phonetics. So
I want to read the whole back of this because I think I picked up most of it. But
yeah. There's a pronunciation guide, which I really loved because I learned a couple new letters that I didn't know before. So I was ecstatic about that. Like C's,
this is our novel.
S's.
Yeah. We're going to attempt to say all the names, but we might trip up or switch to like nicknames or stuff.
Yeah, if we're butchering it or it's becoming too much of an issue, we will switch to
So, Sam, would you like to do like a short little what the book was about?
You did the part I was gonna do. So the other thing is this was a web novel, which web novels are serialized, which is why it's a four book. Yeah, why it's a 4-volume series for one story. Is because they found the good breaking points in the story, which manga readers will be unbothered by that, because that's also, well, manga and comic book readers will be unbothered because that's how those handle that. And there's a lot of like web novels that do that as well. This one was just a very, very long web novel.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the other thing I wanted to say. Book one, which is the one we're talking about today, is about the guide. It labeled him as an anti. I don't think he's an anti fan. He
wants to be an anti fan.
He's very close, but he was a reader. What was his screen name? Cucumber something.
Yeah, Peerless Cucumber.
Peerless Cucumber. That was his screen name. And he read the novel, and then he got really mad at the novel's ending because with many a good story that has so much potential, but then the writer just doesn't know how to wrap up all the potential satisfactory to readers. Plot threads that went nowhere, other things. He raged, and then how did he die again?
I think in this version he choked on a meat bun. In others, he ate expired yogurt.
He ate food and died.
He died while typing out a hate comment on the last chapter because
apparently, remember this, everyone. If you die thinking dumb fuck author, dumb fuck novel, you may unlock some sort of system that allows you to fix the novel by inhabiting one of its characters. Most
the
likely
Scum Villain. The Scum Villain in the original text. Yeah. And so do you want to keep going?
Yeah, go ahead. No, you can.
So Shen Yan, we're just going with that. That's his original name, but he transmigrates into Shen Qinshu, who is the abusive Shizun or teacher of the main character Lu Binghe in the novel.
Shizu.
There's Shizun.
It might be spelt with an N, but I'm pretty sure because it's like Shifu. Shizu.
But it has an N at the end. I'm going off of I listen to people do like podfics, which are like audiobook versions of fan fiction. And
were any of those people Asian?
Yes.
Then we'll go with them.
Yeah. My favorite is, and I learned how to pronounce every name from that. I've forgotten most of them, but I just go what she does, and I'm like, this is close enough, I hope. So he's the abusive master of Lu Binghe, which is this guy who eventually he's like half. Oh, by the way, spoilers. He's half human, half demon, and he's the protagonist of the Stallion novel that Shen Yan was reading. And he has like a harem of over 200 women. But he had like a really shitty life, and then it's like a revenge fantasy. Against the teacher was one of the many people that Lu Binghe gets revenge against. His tongue is cut out, one eye is gouged out, and then he's turned into a human pickle, put in a pickle jar because his arms and legs are cut off. And he's left to like, but he's immortal enough, his cultivation, so his like magical martial arts is keeping him alive, so he just has to sit there and be in a really bad
it's a specific kind of torture called human meat stick. Like that's not just
an actual term, not just what this is called in the book. Wow.
Okay.
So, yeah.
For clarification, I don't know if it was a real torture thing in history, but that is a torture thing in the genre, and it is called human meat stick, which I think is why this book, y'all, Sam pulled up so much wuxia and Chinese culture references that I didn't realize were buried in my brain because I had no problems understanding anything in this book. And then later I realized I probably should have been more confused about a couple things, but yes.
This was my intro to like the entire genre.
Oh dear.
Both the wuxia genre Oh wait, Rowan actually studies Chinese.
I was just going pronunciation wise.
Yeah.
But this is yeah.
I actually didn't know the difference because it's used interchangeably in some things, and I wasn't sure.
Oh.
Yeah, so this was my introduction to the whole genre, so I didn't know anything about cultivation or really anything.
Share with us all of your knowledge, Rowan, because like CB just said, she didn't know that, and two, I also like learning and being reminded of things.
No, you're not allowed to learn things, Sam.
I want to learn.
You have to block out every new piece of information.
Pronounce the sect without me then.
No! It's the mountain sect.
See, that was my thing. He isn't committed enough to be an anti.
He loves Lu Binghe too much. He hates on everything.
That's the thing. Also,
the main character.
Hi Kelly. Hi Nicole.
Hi guys.
Our intro is very long.
Yeah. Okay. So he gets transmigrated into the novel. Then he's like, "Hey, I don't want to die that way because that sucks. I'm gonna basically suck up to the protagonist and hope he doesn't kill me." But then he is forced to do the big act that, again, very spoiler. Last spoiler warning. That finally turns the protagonist against him, which is, I know, but
okay.
I put that up there on purpose, is throwing the protagonist into basically super mega hell, where all gay people must go, and like being like, "Oh, you're a disgrace. I can't believe you hid your half demonness from me. Blah blah blah. I hate you. Push."
Really, the original Scum Villain just hated him.
The original. Look.
He's like, "Oh, I have an excuse to throw him into hell."
Yep. So this book, I'm gonna try my best during the stream not to slip up and spoil things or mess up what's canon and what is fanon. I have like little notes about this to remind myself. And then there are also extras at the end.
If you say anything that makes me go, then it might have been fanon.
Yeah, but then again, with this book, you never know.
No, I'm so salty. I felt so good. My brain was functioning. I ran errands with the kids this morning. I came home and a migraine went.
No, we were texting in the middle of it, and Sam's like, "I'm gonna go take a nap." And I'm like, "Oh no."
So it was that, or we might have had to reschedule the stream.
Yeah.
Who knows when.
So yeah, the book is so, I love the way it's written because it's so tongue-in-cheek. Or at least I think that would be the correct phrase for it. It's so meta. It's very aware of what it is. There's literally like a paragraph will happen and then parentheses is like a reaction to it that you would, as the reader, be happening. And I kind of think of it as the parentheses and little commentary is almost Shen judging himself.
I wanted to touch on the writing style because I was considering how to like speak to its quality.
Mm-hmm.
Because like those daggers. I almost say what I must say.
Those were daggers. Those were just, I'm curious of what you're going to
I could sense them. It's okay, I'm impervious. No, because I was reading it, and at first, which I first started reading it when I had a really bad migraine and my eyes were just not doing it. And then, so the reading style was not friendly to me that way. So I put it down. I did some other things, and I came back to it like when I was feeling a bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, the writing style bounces between the style of a web novel. And everyone know that when I say that, I am not saying any, like, I'm not going, oh, it's the quality of, fuck, what's that one web novel site everybody hates? Wattpad? Everyone, like, when they think a novel is bad quality, they'll be like, oh, it was from, like...
Wattpad?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, they're like, which one is not fair to Wattpad writers? But anyway, yeah, people will be like, oh, it's a Wattpad. No, I say that as, like, you know, someone who has like read web novels. There's some really good quality web novels, and there's some web novel services that have editors available to their writers. Those ones are slightly harder to get into. So yeah, no, it's like, so you'll be reading the web novel and then it cuts into fandom writing, not fan fiction. I know my camera cut in for me. Not just in, again, not in a derogatory way. It's just like, oh, this is how fandom speaks. This is how fandom interacts on forums. This is how fandom speaks in the comments of the web novel. And I was like, there are many people who would think that this is poor quality writing. I think this is masterful style. Like, I think it's a really good style. It does take some adjusting to, because it is bouncing between two distinctly different writing styles within it. But after like a chapter or so and my migraine went away, I adjusted to it pretty quick. And I see why Animu fans buy out all of our sets at these conventions.
So I went and I read her, this was my, MXTX is the author, and I read her, this one first, and then I read her other two novels, or like series. And I really know how to pronounce her name.
Okay. Specifically, MXTX is her initials with one. I thought was awesome. 2, now knowing this, my dyslexia will stop reading it as mixtape. There's no reason it should be read as mixtape. That's just what my brain defaulted to. Every time I saw it, I was like, Scum Villain, my mixtape.
Honestly, vibes. Airplane and then mixtape.
I did want to say her name at least once on stream. Again, my best guess at the pronunciation. Mo Xiang Tong Xiu.
I don't know.
Maybe it's Shuri. Mo Xiang Tong Xiu. Rowan.
Okay. So she
I know you're studying Chinese.
That's not just me shortening it. At least her Western.
No, I know. She goes by MXTX. Yeah. Like I just Googled MXTX and it was like MXTX, the author. So I presume she goes by MXTX so that it's easier to market internationally.
It's literally in the back of the book.
Exactly. I just wanted to say her name at least once because I think it's a very pretty name.
I think it's awesome, and I appreciate the fact that there is a way to shorten it, that I can still like be saying her name and being able to cover it. What?
On the graphic on the stream. I could have just read the cover anyway.
Okay. So I read her 2 other novels which don't have that fandom input within the actual writing. And that
into the hard one.
That took me to get used to alternatively. Okay, Rowan says her name's pronounced Mo Xiang Tong Xiu.
Okay, so I was closer the first time. Mo Xiang Tong Xiu.
Thanks, Rowan. Okay, actually, who watching has? I think Rowan has.
Let me do the poll. I did a poll last time. I forgot today. I'll put up a poll.
Has read Scum Villain.
The poll will be on my channel, so if you're watching from CP's channel,
just send it in the chat. But yeah, it took me time to get used to the way the other 2 were written, and they're written beautifully. But I do prefer this just because it's such, for me, it is a unique writing style, and the actual books and then the fandom are the only places I've encountered that kind of writing style. And if anyone has any recommendations of other novels that do that, let me know.
It's a very, I would say it's one of those things where it's a more Eastern writing style. The way that the web novel style is set up and the storytelling in it, much like how there are a lot of like Eastern stories and stuff that don't have climaxes because their narrative style and format and like the goals of their narrative are not necessarily the same. So I think if you want to find more books like this, try to find more Chinese authors or Chinese, Korean.
Yeah, I think the
Japanese storytelling style is a little has evolved a little too differently to get similar things.
Okay.
But yeah, so I would try to find translations of those ones for this style similarly. The fuck?
I have a shelf at home.
Don't bark at my. Are you?
12 books?
Bark at my hoodie.
Maybe 15 books now of Chinese authors.
I'm sorry. She stole my hoodie and was rolling around with it and then barked at it.
I thought she fell off the bed.
No. All right, sorry. What were you saying?
Okay, so her writing style, I really like it. I think it's really unique. And I'm glad because I read this before there was official English translation, so I read a fan translation, and I'm glad that that element of it is present in the official translations as well. It wasn't just something that that translator did. So I really enjoy it. But yeah, so that's a general introduction into the book. If you guys have any plot questions, if you haven't read it, and are like, wait, what the hell are you talking about? Let us know. So, what are your general impressions?
Give me a moment. I fucked up on the poll and I have to figure out the poll again. Have you read?
Because I could just keep going, but I want to get what Sam actually thinks before I'm being like, this is my favorite. If you say you don't like it, I'm gonna cry. Which I won't. I'll respect her wrong decision.
Luckily today, I don't think I'll make her cry because I greatly enjoyed the novel.
Yay.
But even with my own things, I have opinions.
Yeah. No, I have opinions about it too. It is not a perfect novel. The writing style, like Sam says, it switches between like very eloquent, beautiful writing.
Hold on. Nikki, are you asking what's the writing style or what is a writing style in general, or are you being sassy?
I didn't consider the third option.
I know my chat. Nikki's not usually one to be sassy, but there's always the.
That was an intense moment to open it up too. There. Pretty. I love that you sent me a screenshot of this image because I was like.
I forgot. Oh, because the look on his face.
Child.
So I enjoyed it overall. I was really hoping Lu Bingao was not the love interest because of the age difference, and I was like, this is one of those hear me out age interest things.
It is.
Because there was another one I was talking to you about that was very similar, where it's like they did know each other at like the older one did know the other one as a kid, and and they like helped raise them for a little bit, but then they went away and then they came back, and so I was like, hear me out. I don't think it was grooming because, and so that's what this feels like, where it's actually perfectly fine, but you do have to have a moment of, okay, here's why I think it's okay.
So I can't say one of the big reasons I think it's okay.
So a writing style is CB, you may have to help my brain out here. I know what it is, I'm just having trouble forming the words. So for example, in a lot of romance, you can generally identify that it is a romance in the narrative even before the romantic things are happening, because of the type of words and the flow and the things that are going on. And so like romances will tend, like a fantasy romance will tend to linger on the descriptions of certain types of clothes, and they'll describe things as more how they fit or what they're showing or what they're covering. Whereas like in a regular fantasy, when they describe the clothes, it focuses more on like if they're durable or if they're good for the weather and stuff. So like that's one stylistic difference. I'm trying to think of things that are just to the narrative specifically.
It can be like literally
like CB was saying earlier about in this one, you'll have with the two different styles, you'll have one style that it's describing like the scenery, it's giving us backstory, it's very kind of reminiscent of traditional fantasy writing. And then bam, you're thrown into a more contemporary paragraph where it's sitting there talking about these anime tropes and
So this is like a 1-to-1 line ratio. So we have blah blah blah, letting Shizen protect his weak self, letting Shizen be injured because of him. This kind of thing absolutely could not happen again. Shen Shinshu let out an oh, what's going on? He suddenly had this, the protagonist is protecting me, I feel so safe kind of feeling. What exactly was going on? Safe your ass. This person will carve you into a human stick in the future. Wake up. Shen Shinshu was filled with a plethora of complex emotions. Fuck, originally this conviction to become stronger, protect my important person, should have been inspired by the protagonist seeing the female lead's frail, lovely, and delicately panting form after she sustained an injury while helping him. Was the system laying all this emotional labor associated with the female lead's role on Shen Shinshu?
I'm like, Shizu, you should have read enough things.
Yeah, his genre is not diverse enough.
It's not grooming if it's I'm just trying to make you like me so that you don't kill me.
Yes, but so Lu Binghe is 14 when Shen Yan gets transmigrated in. And one big thing I want to actually get Sam's opinion. How old do you think he is when he dies? Shen Yan?
Shen Yan?
Yeah.
Somewhere between 17 and 23. I was leaning on the younger end.
I think when I read it, I thought he was like in his mid-20s because I was 17. But as I got older, I like went, no, this man is younger than me. He is baby.
No, he gives all the vibes of angry late teen fandom boy. So
but so I marked this one bit. There's a character he refers to as
the reason I'm more worried about it was actually less their age and more their positions of power.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because it's a reincarnation. So like I know that. Also, I wasn't sure how old Shizen was because he does according to our MC, he did try to do things with Nin Ying Ying. So
yeah,
I was hoping he was also a teenager. But
according to our unreliable narrator, I'll say that
unreliable.
Shen Yan thinks he knows everything about this world because he knows everything about Lu Binghe's story from Lu Binghe's perspective.
Yes.
But one thing is he takes that word as law. And throughout this novel, he struggled to differentiate between characters and people. And if he doesn't know something about the world, then it doesn't exist to him in some cases.
Yeah, I like that the narrative actually kind of addresses and works with that at different points and in different ways.
Yeah. So yeah, we don't actually know what their age difference is. I think he is under 21.
Yeah, he feels.
He also mentions like he has never been properly hugged by someone before.
Okay, that could be any age, so that's very bad.
That also attaches to there's like a Fanon generally agrees that he's 2021, that area. Some people lean a little younger, but it's within the age range you said. And then another thing that I kind of, as I'm reading, I'm looking forward to see like what aspects of that could show is that he was
has absolutely no mention of a job at all, which is why I firmly believe he's under 21. In the societies, from what I know of the society, again, not an authority, I just indulge in much media. He should have a job by now or have like mentioned higher education.
Asterisks. I think he does mention that he's a rich second generation. but still probably would have a job. And that there comes the fanon theory that he was chronically ill in his original life, which would make him dying via meat bun or expired yogurt make a little bit more sense.
It would make sense, but let me tell you, when we're gonna isekai, I don't care how they die, it makes sense. They needed to die for fate to happen.
But his absolute obliviousness to interpersonal relationships, I think, would also put him on the younger end and sheltered.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, I thought you were gonna be like, would make sense with chronic illness. I would be like, I mean, that just makes sense for a teenager.
Yeah. So I think it's a fun combo of those two. And then I think with him being the teacher and Bingha being the student, he never, if it wasn't from his perspective, I probably would be like, but because we know his thoughts at all points of him being like,
well, even if it wasn't from his, like I said, this is one of those things where I go into it and I never want to assume a piece of media that somebody near and dear to me who is not my mother is enjoying. Sorry, that's not actual shade to my mom. It's just she's from an older generation, so she doesn't perceive age gaps and whatnot quite the same.
She didn't think this book was good enough, so.
But
I tried that. They're not together when he's 14. They're not together.
That's the other thing. I never want to go in thinking like, oh no, I'm going to hate this solely because this is groomy. But so I always go in with okay, where's the hear me out validation, basically.
Yeah, this is my hear me out book, which every time I'm like, oh, it's between he transmigrates, so there's a teacher in this, but it's not like that, guys. There's things that happen that I don't want to spoil that make it really okay. So even at 17, which is where this book ends, they're not together.
That's the other thing.
Is of them being together. It's one-sided.
It's also, as much as I know people hate this, it's the younger pursuing the older, which it's like, yes, people tend to hate that as a thing because a lot of people do use that as an excuse. But but the thing is, in books and media with grooming, even if the younger one is still in pursuit, it's grooming because of the way the older one acts.
Yeah.
Right. And our boy is so confused.
Which one?
Right now?
He's a straight cis male. As far as he knows.
I mean, look, I just wanted to point out, what was it? Okay, hold on. There's Peerless Cucumber, and then where's the characters? Peerless Cucumber is his web name, web handle.
Yeah.
Which is obviously a penis reference.
Yes.
And then, hold on, I have to find.
Are you looking for the authors?
Yes.
It's Airplane Shooting Towards the Sky.
Also a penis reference.
Yeah.
So I'm like, these men with their penis handles and their reading of other men and their power fantasy wish fulfillment genres.
Also the fact that Shen Yan is like, I'm sick of skimming through all this porn to get to more stuff about Lu Bingha.
Look, I relate to him. I relate to him.
And his favorite of one of Lu Bingha's wives, like within the original novel, is the one that
one that has no sex scene.
Yeah, I relate. She's my favorite. I'm like, because you're not jealous of her.
But I also appreciate, we're gonna, I guess, dive a little bit into just the main character. I do appreciate that he does, like, here's the other thing he does.
Wait, which main character, Sam?
Sorry,
Shen Shu or Shen Yan?
Shen Yang.
Okay.
They don't say Shen Yong's name a lot.
They don't. Yeah.
So I forget it.
They say it once, I think, in the
So
beginning.
yeah, so Shen Yong, one of the other reasons I figure he's a teenage boy, I don't think he's above 19. I think he's a teenage boy. The more I think about it, the less I will allow for him to be older, is because overall, when he sees the female characters and stuff that he likes, he fanboys over them. He thinks they're so awesome. He thinks they're so cool. There's only one that he's really, really kind of shitty to, but it's not her he's shitty to.
Yeah.
It's the role she fulfills.
The narrative, yeah.
The narrative that she's shitty to. But then, like, it's just the way he does it that I'm like, this is such a teen boy. This is a teen boy trying to be so mature for his age.
Also, right? He refers to himself as like this old man, and I'm like, bitch, no.
Every time he does that, I think he's referring to like Shizun, not himself. But
I think it goes back and forth. I think he honestly believes himself to be some like lofty immortal master now, and I'm like, can you drive?
Like also, the more we talk about him, the more I realize this is just me. If I became an immortal master. But we won't think too deeply on that, so I don't ruin your entire enjoyment of this series every time you see him.
Because I see him like I would see a little brother, I think.
Yeah.
I have a little brother, but it's different. If my little brother got isekai'd and was gay, this is how I would see him, and wasn't my actual little brother. And
we have a mission for you.
No, he's great. I asked multiple times. I wanted it.
I was more for him being isekai'd.
Oh no, I wanted
not a mission.
I can get isekai'd. My brothers can't. They have to stay. Unless we get isekai'd together, all three of us. Actually, that'd make my parents sad. Never mind. No one gets to isekai.
After your parents' funeral.
Yes, then I can isekai, and so
all
can they.
4 of your parents' funeral.
I'm like actually an old lady. I get to be the actual old person.
No, you're an old person, and then you're isekai'd into the young body of a different old person.
Yeah. I'll be because my favorite. Who do you think my favorite character is?
There are different ways this could go.
I want to know your reasoning for different ways.
Okay. If it is Shen Yong, then it would be because this poor closet baby. If it's Liu Binga, it's because he is the saddest of sad boys.
So sad. Also
because he got Riz.
He does.
He has this little 14-year-old got so much Riz. He shouldn't have had that much Riz.
It's bouncing off nothing. But when he's 17, the image that you sent me.
He has this very. That's why I sent that picture.
He's 17 in that. That's when he comes back and goes,
right.
Oh
my bad.
Why did you 17?
Okay, I guess at 17 he's allowed half the Riz he has.
Why does Shizun keep looking at me? Could it be that this disciple was gone for so long that Shizun also missed him? And then Shen Shinshu goes, I'm not allowed to look at someone I raised. And then Liu Bing had chortled. Of course Shizun is allowed. Am I pleasing to look at?
Yeah, that's I read that line. And then because on my copy, because I read it in the e-reader, and which I love that the illustrations are still in this, because so this is mine, and because I use Open Dyslexic, it's a bigger font with wider kerning and stuff, and I flipped it as if I was at that page. I wasn't at that page, but so I read that line, and then I flipped it, and that's when I saw the illustration. And I was like,
literally, his face is just so
He's
Like,
just
he
so
knows what he's
fucking
doing.
in love with him already. I was like, who
I know.
illustrated this?
And
I need to see more of their stuff.
So things. Plot twist, neither of them are my favorite characters. I love them both dearly.
Oh, hold on, I had a third guess.
Oh, okay. Who's
My
your
third
third
guess
guess?
was the author.
Why?
That one I have no explanation for. It's just a feeling.
So Airplane is not my favorite character either. Although for chat, Airplane, the author, also gets transmigrated into the story.
That's another
And
Scum character.
and another Scum character who's also supposed to die. I'm so excited for the next book because that's when like I love Airplane. I didn't like him at first, but I like him now. Like I thought he was annoying at first, but I think I was too like annoyed at him.
Have felt so bad for Airplane since the first time since Shen Yung started ripping into poor Airplane. I was like, maybe Airplane just got disinterested and wanted it to end.
Oh, I don't know if this is a fan theory or not. It's because he needed more money. So he switched from writing a stallion novel, like a normal martial arts novel, into writing porn because they got more money that way. I don't remember.
Oh, yeah, see, so I was right. He became disinterested.
Yeah. And he needed to pay his bills.
Yeah, see,
no,
so I felt
first.
so bad for him. And then like when his character first appears and stuff, he's not actually the reason that Lu Binga gets pushed into the cave thing. And I'm
the
like,
the hell.
Yeah, the hell. It's called the Endless Abyss.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so like he didn't actually set forth the things he was supposed to, so the system had to do it. And so I was like, he's not evil. He's just a poor guy trying to make a paycheck who got shoved in this world.
So my favorite character is Lu Shidi, Lu Chungi, which is this guy. That's the Baijan war god, the one that has the chi deviation.
Oh, that was. See,
he has like 3 scenes in this book.
The love interest. Yes, baby.
Now can I do my gamer time?
Yes. We got so little of him on the page in book 1 that I was like, I saw him and I'm like, oh, I feel like he's gonna be my fave. And then like he just doesn't come up a lot in book 1, and I'm like, I'm so sad. I forgot.
It isn't a love triangle. But
a throuple.
The amount of fan fiction I have read. Because I need him to be happy. He doesn't even
tell me that.
Okay, so MXTX is like, by the way, he's straight, and that's a fucking lie. That man is not straight. He is just so fucking repressed. Sex isn't even a thing. He can't even say the word sex.
So he's asexual.
No, he's horny. Actually, he might be asexual, but anyways.
I don't know. We don't see him a lot, and I didn't get romance vibes. So, okay. So here was my thing. I was like, at the beginning, I'm like, I don't know if Lu Binga, he might be the love interest. Y'all, I have a romance star. It is never wrong. I always know when there are the romance vibes, and I was reading it, and I was like, oh. Is we gonna get an enemies to lovers thing? Are we gonna get a love triangle? And then I was just like so disappointed by the utter lack of romance vibes.
So that's one of the fun things about this fandom is because everyone supports everyone's ships. Like there's no shipping wars because everyone's like, oh, I think Shen-Yan has chemistry with X person. Everyone's like, yeah. So it's referred to, I don't know if this is a thing in other fandoms, but as the wife beam. Every time you meet someone and he's just like himself, they're like, oh, I'm in love. Even like the Gongzi Zhao, the Huahua palace disciple that he meets at the end, the one that helps with the snake and everything, he's like, wow, such an upstanding, he's so like amazing, like thinking about Shen Yan. And I'm like, well, we got another one.
The poll's still up. We have 7 votes at the moment. 71% have not read this, so they're just here for us.
Thanks, guys. You can read after. And really, I think book 1, I'm so sad, is just the setup. Because I didn't realize how early book 1 ended. I was like, oh, that's as far as we got in one book. Oh shit. Because
I will say I do like that idea of fandom of how the fandom works, especially because like essentially that's just how the fandom of stallion novels works. I mean, sometimes there's waifu wars, but in general they're all like, well, it's for them it's not like what ship is superior so much as whose waifu is better.
Yeah.
It's like the main character has chemistry with everyone, but is my fave better than your fave, basically?
Except the narrative only ever points to one, which is fine. It's fine. I'm a big fan of Bing Lu Shen, which is all 3 of them.
Oh no, the link in the chat was for the poll in my channel. So yeah. you was already here.
Because I just think it's fun that Shen Yan goes around like hating on not harems in general, but just stallion novel really. And then it's just collecting husbands like Pokemon cards. And
now he's the stallion.
Seriously. And it kind of makes me sad because he's monogamous, and that's just kind of sad for me and all of the other men. But it makes the fandom itself like a really chill place to be. I've never been in a chiller fandom or like around one, because everyone's equally like weird about the book. Because it is such a meta book, I feel like it attracts people who have been in fandoms for a long time and are kind of share opinions about like shipping and the treatment of female characters and all this kind of stuff that are expressed through the narrative in the actual novel. And if you breach all that, kind of filters out the people that wouldn't mesh well in a healthy fandom.
That was the other thing that I appreciate, and probably would definitely affect the type of readers and stuff, is the way she brings up issues in the fandom is essentially through a teenage boy complaining about issues in the fandom, or issues in the genre and everything. And I'm like, that's so smart.
Yeah.
Because it's like, for people who are already aware of the issues and want to talk about the issues, it doesn't matter who points out the issues, right? But for people who aren't aware or like basically get eye rolly about it and stuff, because of the way it's done in here, it's done from like, I am a fan of this thing, but this is a thing I acknowledge is bad about it. And so then like other fans might kind of be like, yeah, I can see where you're going, or where you're coming from, or at least like seek to understand more. Whereas some people start complaining about media and stuff, like bashing you over the head with certain issues because it's just like too in your face and into that. And so I think the way and who she's having do that is just like it's so smart, and I could see how that would make her attract her fandom to people who like want to talk about stuff like that.
And there are like obviously like Bingha has a bunch of haters, but I think that's the people who usually hate him are the ones that especially ship Shen Yan with the other people, rather than just be like, how about they're all just happy together. But I think they're the vast minority, and that, I don't know, it makes it a lot of fun because it's literally, I saw this post the other day. I was like, how could you hate Bing He when all 4 novels are a love letter to him? Like, you're just reading about a man who loves, whether it's platonic, romantic, as a character, he loves Lu Binghe, and you can't help but kind of love him too. Even averse from seeing him yourself and being like, oh, you sweet child.
That's the other, like, hear me out thing, is that while Shen Yong is in a position of authority over Lu Binghe, he's in a position of power over, because he is the celebrity. Shen Yong is the fan, and it makes it a little more balanced.
Yeah, and
especially once the system is like, oh, you completed your mission, you can act OOC now.
Mm-hmm.
Which, oh my god, I feel old when it explained OOC to me, and I was like,
I knew what that meant. I think pre this novel. I like how Lu Binghe even he like starts to get feelings for, like, not the Skinner demon incident, but after that, I think he's just like, oh, Shen Yong gives him a hug. Just a hug. And he's like, oh, Shizen cares about me. This is him thinking internally. And he's like, no, I can't think that way. It's disrespectful. And he just stops. And then 3 years later, he's like, do you find me appealing? And I'm like, what happened? Puberty. What happened?
I mean, that's like, yeah, but that's the other thing. I like how she handled those, like, growing emotions, because at first it is very much just admiring and stuff when he's like 14 and a little bit of a crush and stuff, and then he comes back at 17 and he's like, hey. So,
yeah,
I'd like to see how peerless your cucumber is. It's like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry.
Don't worry about it. Well, he has, I don't know, I think it's referred to this as in the first novel, as Lu Binghe's cucumber is his heavenly pillar. Is that in this? Because that's direct, he's quoting Airplane, because apparently Airplane, that's like all it's called in PIDW, which is the original book. And then just, I think that's so funny.
I was trying to see if I could figure out where OOC originated from, because I think it originated in roleplay forums, and then fan fiction, and then evolved into other places from there. Because in roleplay forums, you would, like, type your post in character, and then at the bottom, like, as a postscript, you could go OOC, and then write as you.
A couple of the things that stood out to me, so I have all my tabs.
Okay, go ahead. You start your tabs.
As I was rereading, so one of them that literally shocked me, and I posted about it on Tumblr, and no, I'm not sharing my Tumblr.
I can find it, I think.
You can find it, not anyone else. Okay.
I'm going to share it with people.
So this is chapter 1 still. So Lu Binghe's 14. And here's the quote. Okay. They're sitting in a carriage, just the two of them, going somewhere. Lu Binghe thought for a moment. It seemed to him that he had never been this close to his teacher before, and that he had never had an opportunity to carefully examine Shen Xiu like this. Appearance-wise, you couldn't complain about him. Perhaps Shen Xiu couldn't qualify as supremely beautiful, but he was certainly good-looking, and you wouldn't tire of looking at him. The profile of his face, in three-quarter view, seemed to have been carved by creeks and mountain springs, and when not fixed in a cold scowl, it became gentle and bright. As soon as Shen Xiu opened his eyes, he found Lu Binghe staring at him. He saw a glimpse of the future Lu Binghe's unique grace, that of, quote, eyes of cold stars and a soft and radiant smile, with muted words and quiet laughter, end quote. Lu Binghe had been caught red-handed, and right as he was struck, lost at what to do, Shen Xiu smiled at him. Ooh. This smile was purely unconscious, but Lu Binghe felt he'd been pricked by a small, fine thorn. He quickly averted his gaze and became increasingly awkward, unsure of what he was feeling. So when I read that for the first time, I was literally put aghast at He couldn't qualify as supremely beautiful.
How dare you?
This man couldn't qualify as supremely beautiful. I was just shocked that
The
was
only person supremely beautiful to Shizen is Lu Binghe.
but that's like basically Lu Binghe going, oh, you couldn't qualify as supremely beautiful. And then he smiles and he's like, wow. But I thought it was so funny because in fandom, at least, in like every fan fiction, when someone meets Shen Shinshu, they're like, wow, he's so pretty. Like, he's just like the prettiest around. The beauty of all beauties. But they usually separate it as like back before Shen Yan showed up, he was a dick, so they didn't really notice before. And then yeah. So for having
ugly on the inside, and they sensed it, and
Yeah.
now he's pretty on the inside, sort of. That
so
reminds
excited
me.
for when we read all 4 of these, and I can say all the things I think without. Because I'm like,
So that does remind me, Omniscient Reader, which is a webtoon. The main character is pretty like average compared to all the other characters, right? And especially like he too, like he's like an opposite isekai. His web novel comes to life.
yeah,
The one he's reading.
I love
And the main character, whom he is also madly in love with, I mean, a big fan of.
that one's straight though. Don't let people think it turns.
No,
into
I know. No, that one. Look,
I
they
thought
can
it
say
was.
what they want. That's his husband.
I
But
got
anyway,
so far into that novel till I realized it wasn't, like, into the comic, and I was like, oh, this isn't a slow burn. I'm just on fire. Okay.
no, all right, yeah. Canonically, they are straight. But the point is, everybody when they see the main character is like, he's ugly, and I'm like, what? They're all like, he's so horrifyingly ugly, and I'm like,
Well, it was like, I remember he tried to impersonate the actual main character.
yes,
And it's Kim Doksha, right?
I think so.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
he tried to
Kim Doksha.
impersonate the actual like protagonist. And people are like, I heard he was really attractive. This guy's just kind of like, nah. I didn't thought it was horribly ugly. It was just,
I'm like, they could almost be twins. They could definitely be brothers. What are you?
Yeah, because it's a comic, like adapted into a comic. And you're like, wow, he's so pretty. And then they're like, nah. And I'm like,
The comic artist did not get the
no, they didn't. Or even like the official artist on the like novel cover. She's like, no, that's a pretty man, guys. But just my opinion. I think he's pretty.
Yeah, so that's what I would think of.
Yeah.
Or that's what that made me think of was.
But I love all the characters so much, except he hasn't shown. He has shown up yet. I think the old palace master. Fuck that guy. I think he's had like 2 lines at the Immortal Alliance conference. He shows up more later, but I fucking hate him for good reason. I like literally every other character. I'm like, I either adore them or I'm like, okay. Fucking hate that dude.
There has to be at least one scum.
Yeah. He's scum, all right. Anyways, for more of my tabs, I
don't know why he's scum, but now I
know. Okay, so we talked about this a little bit earlier with Ning Ying Ying. Is the female character that in the Proud Immortal Demon Way, which is the
name of the stallion novel within the.
She is the first love interest for Lu Binghe, and she's very klutzy, ditzy, like says the wrong things, and gets Lu Binghe even into more trouble.
She is a teenage girl.
Yeah.
Let us also be clear.
14 or 15. She acts like, sometimes more like she's like 12 or 11, but I think
find
more of a knock towards.
It said she was their age.
No. I said she acts sometimes.
Oh, I mean, between 12 to 14, they all like if I had to group teenage behaviors,
Mm-hmm.
it's like 12 to 14-year-olds could all act the same.
Mm-hmm.
14 to 16 could act the same. And then 17 to 19 could act the same. From my experience with teenagers and children.
Okay.
Because it just depends. Some 14-year-olds are more mature and some are more immature. Like,
yeah.
Because between 11 to 14 is when the biggest behavior shifts happen.
Mm-hmm. So
but
I
yeah,
do think
to me, she seemed 13 or 14.
Yeah, she's supposed to be 13 or 14 or 15 because I think she's supposed to be older than Binghe. Or it's just because she joined the sect first. I'm not sure. So that's why he's the she and she's the shiji. Again, pronunciation. So at one point, she blunders verbally and she's about to get Lu Binghe the shit beaten out of him by his bullies. And Shen Yan thinks, your IQ and EQ, young lady. The male lead is taking all that collateral damage. And then Ning Ying Ying absolutely hadn't considered the consequences of those words she had said to them. She'd only been thinking how she always saw Lu Binghe wearing that jade ganyan.
Sorry, I had a thought. There's like more evidence he's a teenager. Not once in the entirety of novel 1 did he think, ugh, teenagers.
Close to his skin, never parting with it. And here's the thing where it's like, are you sexist? Kind of. Girls in particular invariably wanted to get their hands on the things their crushes treasured, which they hoped would confer upon them the satisfaction of being in a special position. But Lu Binghe simply refused to give her that recognition. Displeased, she brought it up in this half-sweet, half-brazen manner. Blah, blah, blah.
I think it's a little sexist, but it's also just sort of observant of society, because that is a very cultural norm thing for girls to do.
I think also the way he says it.
Yeah, the way he says it is a little...
No, gives this aura of like, I'm above that. Which just makes, to me, I mean, he's like 19. Yeah. So he's like, I'm not like other teenagers. I'm 19.
No, because he doesn't make it about age. He makes it about gender.
But he said girls, which I feel like makes it a little bit about age.
No, because he never refers to the teenagers as anything other than girls or boys.
Later, when they're 17, he does, when he sees Veil Girl and Lu Binghe, he's like, wow, a beautiful young woman and a beautiful young man. Look at them, such young woman and man. But I think...
But he would also be older at that point.
Yeah, he'd be like 22. And they'd be 17.
Unless we go with my aging, in which he's 17 or 18, then he's 20 or 21. But yeah.
Plot twist, he's 15 years old. He is 1
he's
year
12.
older than Binghe.
He's 12. That's the plot twist.
So old now, I get to be grown up because I'm actually no. Him being 12 would make the whole series into a horror. Because he's like, that'd be a 12-year-old in really concerning situations. Like, he's fucking tied up in chapter 1.
Chapter what? Look, if he was a 12-year-old reading that, he's already messed up.
There's fanfics where he's like 17 when he dies, and when he runs into Airplane's like, oh yeah, how old were you? And Airplane was like 30 something, or Fanon gives him like 30 something when he died. But now he's like 60 because he lived another life. Like, he's in his 60s. He's at least in his 60s. Or lowest 50s if he was like 20 when he dies. It's been like, this generation is, we don't know how long they've looked like they were ageless. But so he's put in basically his 60s now. And he asks Shen Yan, like, oh, how old were you when you read the book? And he's like, 17? Or no, he goes, how old are you now? And he's like, oh, I'm like 20, 21 or 20. And everyone's like, wait, why were you reading porn? There was an age lock on that website. And Shen Yan's like,
that's really easy to get her. See, this just makes me feel
Like he's young.
If you smash airplane and she's ridiculous. I'm just a cultivator. That's what we're learning.
You can be a cultivator. Actually, I'd be okay being the cultivator. I want the long hair. That's about it. I want the long, beautiful hair. I'll take the, ageless immortality, the unparalleled beauty, blah, 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 the magic martial arts. And I want the long hair that always flows beautifully. Because mine doesn't do that. But yeah, so I think it's so funny. I just love this book so much, guys. Let's see what else.
Being yelled at. I'm sending him to yell at you.
By Fox?
Yeah.
What did I do?
If he yells at you as he's supposed to, you will know.
Just waiting for the little thing to pop up. Oh, what are your thoughts on the Shenyang viewing the characters in the world as a characters and world rather than a people? Than reality.
Say that again?
What's your thoughts on Shenyang's disassociation from what's happening and like viewing the world as?
Oh, I enjoy when that happens. Because it's one of those things where I feel there's a lot of elitist readers, especially if they have a background in writing or literature in any way, who stop enjoying novels as entertainment and they start analyzing them too deeply. And then they stop. And it's funny because some of their biggest critiques will be, oh, well, the author doesn't like see these characters as actual people. They just see them as characters. But it's like, they're also treating them as nothing but like characters and tools, because it's, you know what I mean? And instead of trying to understand the character within the media, and like, this is regardless of whether or not the media was good quality or not, right? I think at some point some of these individuals stop being able to actually recognize good quality stuff. But anyway, I am not thinking of anyone in specific, just so everyone knows. This is just a general vibe of people.
Except
you,
that now. You know who you are.
No, I have to say that now, otherwise my brain will start thinking of specific people. Like, so, and I think he's a good representative of those types of fans. And you can see it in like the way he talks about, again, where she was there a lot in this book. Nin Ying Ying. Yeah. You can see like with her, especially, he'll be like, oh, well, she is this and this is the role she fulfills, and because of that, this is the way she's going to act and this is the way she does and stuff. And he just like strips her down to nothing but stereotypes and the roles and stuff. But then like later on in the book, he's like, have I earned her respect because I've actually been teaching her? And he actually, that makes him feel a little warm and fuzzy. And then he starts, you can tell that like these aren't just characters anymore, which there is a lot to be said about parasocial relationships and how characters can feel more real to some people than people do. Yeah. But I just like this journey. I like the journey of when those people who stop really seeing characters as people in a story and just see them as devices and pieces of a recipe, I guess. And then like when they start going, oh, well, these are actually well crafted people that have like backgrounds and stuff.
They're 3D.
I love it.
One of the reasons I like Lu Shidi, the war god, is he's not actually a god, for anyone wondering, because MXTX has a different book where there are war gods who are actual deities. This is not that. Although he'd be a great war. He should show up in everything.
I think that when you get to cultivators, they are all demigods.
I think it mentions that they're cultivators, but then they ascend into the heavenly.
Into the heavenly planes
where they ascended. So he shall ascend one day, hopefully, possibly.
So yeah, so they are demigod. They're on their way to being.
They're on the way. Gods in progress.
It's the way snakes become dragons in Korean mythology.
So yeah, so I think one of the cool things, especially with romance, like having him as a romantic option, which it isn't in this, but Shenyeon can't see Lu Shidi as a character because there's no frame of reference within Proud Immortal Demon Way of the war god. He doesn't show up on paper. He dies off screen before or off page before the plot starts or as the plot's happening. Like the couple impressions or headcanons he had of him being like a macho manly man are shattered immediately upon meeting him, with multiple pros about how beautiful he is.
That's why I thought he could be the love interest.
I know. I want
Especially like the way he walks out of the cave and stuff is so cute. He's like, I'm leaving. Just in case you wanna,
Sam, I love him so much. He's my favorite character. I'm always sad when he doesn't show up in things.
I feel like he could be my favorite character. I just have not seen him enough. And we know that if he is my favorite character, he will be the saddest of sad boys. So you being like, I just want him to be happy does not help me.
No, okay. It's just I want him to be with Shenyeon, but I just want the three of them to be together. I think it would be great. Okay. Here's the description of him. All right. Let's see. Blah blah blah. Okay, there's no. Okay. Male readers always fervently admire strong characters, even though Luke, I'm gonna say his name wrong, guys. It's Liu Chingi. I don't Liu. I don't know. I'm gonna call him. Are you looking it up?
Yes.
Liu Chingi. That's what we're going with. Though Liu Chingi never officially officially debuted on page, he hadn't lacked for fans, and Shenyeon had been especially fascinated with him. In his headcanon, Liu Chingi had been a sharp and manly man, powerful and magnificent. A war god, right? Shen Chu looked down at the face, as beautiful as a fine woman's, and his dreams shattered and died. The fantasies he'd always held, destroyed. How could the invincible Baijian war god look like his spiritual antithesis? This was clearly the face of a charming young master who arranged flowers and plucked farewell lotus branches. With this appearance, you've totally betrayed the headcanons of your martial prowess fanatics. Then again, it made sense. Liu Chinga is the older brother of the number one true female lead, the peerless beauty, Liu Mingyan. As the protagonist's wife, she absolutely had to be first class from top to bottom. It was just science for her to have such powerful genes. Undefeatable in battle, an arrogant disposition, and an attractive face. With Binga, which is how he refers to the canon, Bingha. With Binga around, a second character with the same mold was unnecessary. No wonder Great Master Airplane had offed him so early.
Chinga.
Chinga?
Liu Chinga.
Okay. But look at that.
That's me after a migraine now.
To be fair, like if you woke up and your mortal enemy is like, "Hey, are you okay?" You'd be like, "Whoa, get the fuck away from me."
If you woke up and Matt was there.
Actually, I probably would because I'd be like, "Matt, how'd you get to California? Why are you leaning over me when I almost was just dead?"
The assassins have finally caught up with me.
So, but yeah, I think like even just the way I headcanon Shenyeon as bi, leaning towards more being actual gay because he does show interest in the female characters.
Yeah.
And usually the younger ones, which makes me think that he is younger as well.
He's 17.
Because he is so appalled by the concept of the original Shenju being into Ning Ying Ying, which is like
He should be.
a rumor, yeah. One of the things that he was charged with in the original novel. And so I do think that he's young because he sees Xia Huling, which is the demon saintess right here, and Lu Mingyan fight, and he's like, wow, they're so pretty. And then he looks at
real
Mila.
focused on her sheer gauze. Let me
What?
tell you. Is that he's real focused on her sheer gauze.
Yeah. But he also is like, girl, you didn't wear shoes? You walked all the way here. Which is so funny.
Demons don't wear shoes. They just wear the little thingies on their feet.
Ta-da.
Yes.
I like having the book here so I can just be like, look at them. Fandom is also pretty awesome about, or there's not very many female characters, but they're not treated poorly. Ning Ying Ying, because obviously she's not Lu Binghe's love interest because this is a gay novel, is usually ends up being his best friend. And like he does like come to rely on her in fanfics and stuff, and like it doesn't just ignore the female characters.
One of the teenage boy lines that I was trying to remember earlier is, so there's two sisters, Quinn Young and I can't remember Quinn Wong.
Oh yeah.
They're in the like it's the final like arc of book 1. Yeah. No, it's not, because the mushrooms come after. It's the final arc with Lu Binghe in existence.
Mini arc versus the mini arc in the end.
Yeah. So they're going to this like basically it's a giant tournament for all of the younger kids, right?
Yeah.
All of the younger members and stuff, so that they can like make a name for themselves and all of that. And he starts getting followed around by a bunch of the girls and the little
kids and girls.
Yeah, because I guess kids can't be girls. I kind of just said the girls and the younger boys, but no, he's just like the girls. I guess trying to be like women and children, but they're not women; they're girls.
It's potential love interests and children, or actually, how Shen Yan sees them: love interests and children. Because he's like, no, every woman with one big
so like in like the original novel, this is, I think he said it's one of the first like really fan servicey scenes in Proud Immortal Demon Way. But our Lu Binghe is gay. I don't know if he's bi because he has shown no interest in women in this incarnation, but yeah, so he's like not really into any of these women, and he does not want to get closer. So one of the sisters ends up dead, killed by a monster, and he's like, "You just lost prime wife, like you just lost a good wife." And I'm like, that was a whole ass woman or lady.
And it was, I think it was the younger sister too. So she was.
It was the younger sister because the older sister was like trying to apologize for her.
My Lu Binghe is gay and just was doing performative heterosexuality in Proud Immortal Demon Way. I bring you to this passage, which is
Lu Binghe wasn't doing performative hetero. He too was getting a check. The author wrote the porn for the money. That's his porn star.
Okay. Got it. Anyways, so Shen Shu gets,
if you have to explain it.
I'm sorry. Gets hit by a poison that can only be cured by having sex with the protagonist, who has heavenly demon blood running through him, and you can cure this without a cure, which is the name of the poison. And yes, he makes fun of that by having sex with the protagonist, and he refuses to do it. He doesn't even think of it as an option. He's like, I could
be a child of Satan.
Yeah. And so he thinks back to how he knows this, because I'll just read the whole passage. Actually, I'm not reading the whole passage. One of the girls gets hit by the poison, so she has it. Her and Lu Binghe in the original novel go on a quest and they bond, supposedly. They think they're getting a cure for it, but it turns out the cure doesn't work. So, however, it wasn't effective. The poison wasn't cured. Their hearts sank. The girl thought, since I'm about to die, I must leave behind some memories to ensure that my life won't end in vain. I don't have many days left, after all, so I won't suppress my feelings anymore. Then, using her weak and fragile body, she pushed Lu Binghe down. Lu Binghe put on a brief show of resistance before telling himself, she did it all for my sake. She did it all for my sake. I don't have the heart to reject her final wish. He yielded, still half reluctant, and went along with it.
Yeah, okay, I agree with, like, I agree with you always getting no vibes that he was into any of these women, which is why I was like, because he's gay, like,
yeah.
At least like Shen Yong does show like genuine interest in like some of the women. Not that like he wants not them, interest for like, himself, just interest as one who would be attracted to them shows.
And I think that's funny. Also, Fox didn't message me, so he's not mad at me.
I know I got double yelled. I'll tell you later why we got yelled at.
So that was one of the things that I like flagged, especially even though he has 300 wives. He kept getting wives, so he must have been looking for something. Clearly
some connection that he was missing.
I just loved Binghe's slow progression of not even that slow of falling in love with Shen Yan. And it just like, and also how it literally like empowers him. Like the narrative of it becoming a romance makes him stronger. There's the passage, warmth suddenly surged through Lu Binghe's heart. The more it surged, the stronger it became, gradually flowing throughout his entire body. Lu Binghe felt as like a steady strength had taken root somewhere in the depths of his heart and was starting to bud. Even his hand carrying the heavy wooden bucket seemed to grow stronger. Like, man's getting a power up from hearing that his crush said nice things about him.
I will say the like moment when he stabbed by his crush, I didn't cry, but I felt very similar feels as to when Fox Brothers.
Yeah.
It's very similar feels. I was like, no.
It's not a good time. It's yeah. When I read it for the first time, I didn't think he was gonna have to go in the abyss. I thought he was gonna figure out some way around it.
Oh no, I was like, he's going in. I just need to see how I'm like, I need to see if he just jumps in. That was my theory. If he was gonna.
If he asks, like if Shen Yan was like, "Hey, I'm gonna die if you don't jump in there,"
he'd do it. No questions asked.
And I think that I was surprised when I was rereading or skimming it, like the last little bit. If Shen Yan like, considered just asking,
he'd be like, you know what? I can repay you for you being poisoned.
Ta-da. Full body sketch of him. Also, the official artist for these books, for the English translations, is a Lu Shen shipper. So draws art of them together in the official art style. I'm like, where did you do that?
The artist says, because I can. It's my power, and this is how I choose to wield it.
No. I just think, anyways, you should have a harem. I don't usually like them. Actually, I don't think it should be a harem. I think it should just be a poly relationship. Just all of them. You don't even know who all of them are. Actually, not all of them, but quite a few of them. I can make charts. We can do that for the fourth one when we finally finish, when we do all of these, because we're doing all of them now.
See, then set up a presentation. Talk about the fourth one.
There'll be fanfiction links recommended and put in chat. She's like, okay, this is the required reading for post stream. Gary thoughts back to me and recommend 5 more because I need more.
I will not be doing the homework.
No, I know, it's fine. I know.
Unless the fanfiction has an audio format.
They do!
Well, send them to me.
Another thing in the fandom is really popular is Shenyan transmigrating into different characters or his own OC. And sometimes he's a different peak lord, like the beast taming peak, because he likes the demonic beast so much, because he's a fucking fanboy nerd. So and then sometimes he's he's lubing his shishang, so like an older sex sibling. There's all sorts of different ones, and they're all so fun. And I have a problem. I'm addicted to the series. Slightly.
Not a problem, it's a passion.
Yeah. And sadly, it has the smallest fandom out of her 3 works. And it doesn't have the beautifully animated anime. We have 1 season of a weird 3D animated thing that's not good. I mean, I appreciate the artist's work, but I don't like the style of animation. So
it's probably because you said this is the only one that has the style switching.
Yeah.
That's probably why. Because like, even though I think Rowan put it better, it's let's scroll up to find Rowan's comment. That it's a really strong style, but it might not read like it's a strong style. And it's also, like I said, it took me a little bit to get into it.
It was her first work as well.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where
the older sibling of the trio.
It's the oldest. We are often the most neglected. No, I'm kidding.
There's also cool like crossovers with her other novels, and it's just, I think it's neat. In case you guys didn't pick up on that.
Well, hopefully it will spread in popularity and the fandom will grow.
Yeah, with only good people though.
You know the 10% rule. Bigger your fandom gets. 10% of all fandoms are toxic.
Yeah. Cool. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
I'm trying to think.
I think the bigger debating.
I liked the monsters. Sorry.
The big like debating stuff, or not debating, but like open bigger discussions. I think rather than just being like, this is my opinion, will pop up in the later books, because there is things that I would like, further things that I would love to get your opinion on, like storytelling wise, character wise, that kind of stuff. I didn't realize, that this is where it ended. I don't know if I was impressed by how like condensed this segment was. I thought pre-Abyss took a lot longer than post in the story.
I will say, if you had told me this was a romance series, for one, if you did tell me that, I forgot that you told me that, so you're in luck. But 2, I would, off of, well, no, if I knew it was a romance series that was like less than 5 books, I'd be like, okay, I can see this is the introduction to our romance.
Yeah. I would classify this as like an adventure.
Yeah, with a romantic subplot.
With a burgeoning romantic subplot. Yeah. Burgeoning?
Oh, burgeoning. I thought you said budging, as in they had
I
to
didn't
budget.
say budgeting. I said budgeting, but I don't think that's a word. Yeah.
Like emerging.
Yeah. Blossoming. I don't think it gets to blossom. It's like a little bud right now. Budding.
I guess it depends on which rare ancient flower.
Yeah. One of a kind flowers.
That was another thing that Shen Yun had to criticize the author for, was there were so many ancient flowers that were needed at different times. And at one point, when he's interacting with the author, because they have to go find one, and he's all like, I don't remember, I mentioned in like a paragraph. Which, let me tell you, I felt that.
Yeah.
Because readers do be finding those things you mentioned in one paragraph 8 chapters ago, and you're like, I have no memory of this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, you wrote it, and it's like, okay.
And
do you remember everything you read? Can you tell me right now what the 4th text to your mom was yesterday? Like, that's not how memories work. We don't have a special bank just because we wrote things. I wish I did. Oh, that would make life easier.
Yeah. If I wasn't choosing this as my next book, would you continue reading it?
Yes.
That's all I need.
I'm really only not going to continue reading it on my own because you want it for your next book. Otherwise,
I'm considering not doing it for my next book, but I want to talk about it more with you. So,
well, you have a month to decide.
Chat to semi-follow along. If they should just read it for themselves.
All right. Are we?
Yeah.
Our next book. This is my pick. Night Pleasures. You may find it in libraries and at stores with a red cover. That's the one I own. But this is the cover we're going with. Night Pleasures is book 1 of the Dark Hunter series by Sherilyn Kenyon, now Sherilyn McQueen. Let me tell you, I will always have the next Dark Hunter in my my safety net. Like it's always gonna be my safety net for the next thing. But this wasn't actually a safety net pick this time. What I decided, because with Fantasy Lover is like book 5 and it's kind of an introduction to
book 5.
Yeah, 0.5.
Oh, 0.5. I think you said just book 5. And I was like,
oh no, it's book half. It's book 0.5. And it's a good introduction to like her writing style and kind of a little bit of her universe. But I don't think it's a good introduction to Dark Hunters per se. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to have you read book 1, and then we'll see if I pick a different series.
If we just,
I have so much
3 or like 5 years, we just both did one author. Like your pick working through Sherilyn McQueen's, and then mine just working through MXTX works.
It's funny you say that, because I was considering and then after Dark Hunter 1, we can do her sci-fi bounty hunter series.
Well, how many Dark Hunters just in the main series are there? Because I think there's 4 Scum Villain, and then 5 Modal Zushi, which is Grandmaster, and then 8 Heaven's Official Blessing, which reaches 17 probably, if I did math right, which is a lot of weeks, especially or a lot of months, because we're doing every other month.
Now, just so you know, the main Dark Hunter series also encompasses the Were Hunter and the Dream Hunters.
Okay. It's gonna be more than 17.
Oh, honey, it was 22 when the last book I bought.
Okay.
Oh, yay, they have numbers on them. So I just have to go to the last page. Okay, so currently
Okay.
there appears to be 36 out with 4 coming soon covers. So there will be 40.
Okay.
Savitar's getting a book! Sorry,
Yeah?
there's just a book called Savitar. I love Savitar. You will love Savitar.
No, I probably will.
But I will also asterisk, though, there might not actually be 36 out, because sometimes, like, Season of Magic isn't a novel. It's, if I remember correctly, that one is like a Christmas short story. So,
Side quest.
yeah, it's a side quest. Maybe, if I remember. It looks like it. Oh, I just realized it's got like it's ornaments, and the ornaments on the thing have Styx and Asheron's logos on them. You can't
Okay.
tell who my preferred.
There's a character named Styx, right?
Yeah, he's named after the river Styx.
I was just wondering if you were
For
talking about
dark, sad reasons.
Yes. You vaguely have told me a lot of
Asheron is also named after one of the Death Rivers for
Yes.
sad reasons. For the same sad reasons, actually, as they are twins.
Great. So that's, yeah. We'll see what we do. Or we'll branch out and do other authors. But now I'm like, do I even have books? I mean, we could do Dragonlance. I
was talking to Fox about it the other day, and I was like, I might, depending on how I'm feeling, have to go through my books and find a hear me out book for the drama.
Yeah. I DNF books really easily, and I don't know, haven't lived as long of a life as yours, so I honestly don't have as many books that I've read.
Okay, I've read a lot of books comparatively to people who are not my booktuber friends, because oh my god, sometimes I think Jess reads more books in a year than I've read in my life. But then I remember how many romance novels I've read.
A lot of my book fiend times, I was under the age of 12. And so,
Heyo, Eva.
hey, Eva.
We are just wrapping up. We announced our read. Hold on.
This was our read for this stream. If you want to go back and watch it and read the book, you should read the book and then show up for the next one.
And this is
support the author.
Yeah, and this is our read for January.
January. Well, it's a great book. We probably should have put like a link to the books in the description.
I did.
Oh, how are you?
Well, I put the card for MXTX, so if anybody is interested in the author or the novel, they can go straight. I did the same thing for Sherilyn.
That's good.
Dark Hunter. It's the first book in the Dark Hunter series.
This is the first book in this book. There's 4 volumes. It's split. But we described that in the beginning of the stream. Very rambling and for very long, but we get there.
I have brain fog.
I just couldn't stop talking. I think it would be funny to look back how much I talked in this stream, because I'm pretty sure it was not the 50-50 we usually do.
It's okay. Like, look, I talked a lot during Fantasy Lover. It's just, the one who loved the book and suggested it is the one who's going to talk about it more because they've reread it. So they have more in their mind. I was going to do something. I don't remember what.
I'm sure it was in the process.
We can, I would say, manga and comics, but if we do those, we go by arcs, not volumes.
Girl, I haven't read much manga.
But I have.
Wait, if we do web comics, I have read a lot of those though.
We can do those too.
Soul Leveling, look out.
That's been on my TBR.
I want to read the light novel. I haven't read the light novel. I want to get it and read it.
You want me to read light novels?
No. I wouldn't make you read the light novel. Because I love the art in the. The first season of the show is super to the comic.
Real quick, do we want to do the 4th or the 11th for our next book club?
My flight back to Los Angeles is the 3rd. So let's do the 11th.
Okay.
Because I will be out of whack and moving in.
Eva also requests the 11th.
Okay. That'll be 2 days before my 22nd birthday.
Tentatively, it will be at the same time it was today, which is 5 p.m. Central.
3 p.m. Pacific.
Yes. Like I said, tentatively, things may happen. But
yeah. Like today, where we delayed by half an hour.
People might do makeup in their sleep.
Thanks for coming. For everyone that stayed, we had a surprising amount of people show up, or at least it was surprising for me. I saw the.
I love all. What was the portion? I love all 80% of you who showed up, not having any idea what the book was, and was just here to listen to us.
Yeah. Hopefully, anyone that showed up, have you been convinced to go read the book? You can get it from your local library, probably. They are big enough for that. I had to go tell the librarians at where my parents live when I was looking around, and it was in the children's section. I was like, no. I mean, book 1 can technically go there, but no.
Children's.
I think it was teens. It was teens.
Okay.
It was middle grade. But I was like, hey, no, this is a rated R series.
No, yeah. Yeah, like I read it off of Libby.
Yeah.
No official audiobooks yet.
It is rated 17+ on the back.
My grandson's birthday is the 10th, so there's a small chance I'll be busy, but also my schedule doesn't matter. I'll just pickle. Oh, okay, that's fair. I mean, it matters to me because you can come in and be sassy at me. I do have an idea what the book is. I even have it in my physical TBR. I just haven't read it yet. Awesome.
Scum Villain or Night Pleasures?
I'm gonna assume Scum Villain. If Night Pleasures,
I have an idea what the book is. I'm like, at this point, they would probably have a better idea because they just listened to us talk about it for 2 hours.
Yeah. Well, they meant they were aware of the book before.
Oh, okay. Scum Villain.
Also, no, I would not. For anybody like listening, we did not nearly go into
the details
of what is in the book. We just talked
so
about.
Fun. There's bondage, non-consensual, unsexual bondage. The Skinner demon.
Oh, right. I'm like,
hey, that's one of my favorite scenes because it's so funny.
He was so scandalized that he had no shirt. I loved it.
He was like, oh, my lofty immortal image. And Bingy is like,
he's like, I'm naked in front of my students. And I'm like, look, I love it in a fictional sense.
Yes. And Binghua was having thoughts.
Yeah.
That was his sexual awakening for the first time.
I felt it was Scum Villain because if anybody has Night Pleasures came out in 2002. I don't imagine it would.
It's older than me.
One day you'll be younger than the book we read.
Yeah, we just keep going through the series.
Yes.
I'm younger than this book. It's like lifted up over there. This is not hard. This book's not that. What?
But are you younger than the English I forgot words. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks those who, popped in and who said things, and like I said, the lurkers who just sit there and listen to us. We appreciate y'all too.
Yep.
So we'll catch you. Are you gonna be on my stream Monday? Who's on the stream Monday?
No, I have.
Laura and Jess are on my stream Monday, and then you and Jess are my last stream of the year.
On the 16th?
Yes.
Cool. I'll be in my new house.
Woohoo! A preview of streams to come.
I won't have a chair. I'll have a desk, but not a chair.
That's a you problem to figure out.
I'll have a bed, probably.
That's good. All right. We'll see y'all later.
Bye.